Hey there, Ívar by Ívar's Fly Workshop here. Today I'm gonna tie the fly which is called black copper bead head. The fly is an Icelandic fly made by a man called, the pattern is made by a man called Bjarni, and we'll start by attaching the thread to the hook shank with few wraps around it. Then we'll go back towards to the head to create like a good platform. We'll leave the thread there right between the out of the hook and then the barb. That's a decent place to go, not further back. Then we will wrap it forward towards to the head and backwards again. It's simply to create like a smooth and nice platform for the material which is coming on the hook shank. If you do that, it's gonna stay in place rather than if you place a material on a stripped or naked hook. It's most likely gonna slide or slip a little bit. We will use a silver wire for this fly, and we will start by attaching the silver wire to the hook shank firmly and securely. Then we take the end of the silver, point it back, so we'll make like a U-turn with the silver thread, so it's definitely not gonna slip. It's gonna be safe and sound, and it's gonna stay in place like this. The next step is to make the body and create the body, and we will use like a black stretch floss. It's a material which I found somewhere. According to the original pattern, it's supposed to be with black floss only, but this material I'm using, it does exactly the same, unless it's easier to work with. You can, I think, find this in almost all the fly stores all the stores selling fly material or fly tying material. So we'll attach the stretch floss down to the hook shank, 2 rounds with thread, so it's not definitely gonna stay in place. The next step is to create the body with the black floss or the stretch floss. We'll wrap it forward towards to the head, and then we'll wrap it back and forward again. So we are creating the body, so the body is a little bit thicker when it comes to the head of the fly rather than the end of it. So we'll build up the body like that. Hopefully the black stretch floss is gonna last. It's like on the merits almost not lasting, but fortunately it lasted, and it's gonna last. And the body is built up like that. It's not supposed to be too thick and not supposed to be too thin, somewhere in between. Then we have created the body, and then we lock the black stretch floss in place securely with few wraps around it, 4 or 5 tight good wraps. Then we trim off the end of the black stretch floss. Then the next step is to attach the wire and wrap the wire around the body to create the wrapping. As you see, it comes out beautifully. Then we have to securely attach the wire to the head, and we do that with like 3 or 4 firm wraps with the thread. Then we trim off the wire, and next step is to create the head of the fly. But this is a UV resin. Originally the fly is supposed to be tied with a epoxy, but the UV resin has kind of replaced the epoxy as a fly tying material, so the UV resin is way more easier to work with, and it, like we say, solidifies immediately when you turn the light on, the UV light. It's gonna just solidify it immediately. We just create the head and do the whip finish before we put the UV resin on the fly. So as you see, we do like two knots. One should be enough, but I feel more secure by doing 2 knots like this. Then we trim off the thread, cut it right up in the corner. Then the next step is to attach a little bit of a UV resin on the back of the fly, like on the top of it, the top of the back of it, and till about the middle of the hook shank, not all the way back. And we'll just place the UV resin on there. The UV resin I'm using, it's a has a medium viscosity, and it's a clear UV resin. The tube I'm using, it's almost empty. I've been tying lots of flies with UV resin. There it comes out. And that amount of UV resin should be enough for this fly. So I prefer to control the UV resin with a toothpick. Toothpicks are like a cheap, nice way to do it, and they are like a single use, and I don't want my needles into the UV resin. Then you like smear it on the back like this. Grab the light, grab the UV light and put it on as I'm doing. It will harden the material. It will solidify just like a lava immediately. Then the rest of the UV resin left on the toothpick I use to cover the knot of the fly. Then the knot is covered and I don't need to put varnish on the head instead. Then we will place another, give it a little shine with the UV light to harden the material all around the fly. It's nice to have a full rotary vise when we are working with the UV material and the UV resin. So the fly is ready, black copper bead head, and I'll just say thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Remember to subscribe and like the video and share the video perhaps if you like it.